All right, it's starting to get pretty late. We got Shawn House from Hempzels. Shawn, you ready now? Shawn House.
That's it?
Us. Shawn House, let's hear it! Yeah!
This is a great way to follow up. I love Rage Against the Machine. Music is fantastic.
There is no way to justify.
I'm telling you, the stories are sad.
There you go, man. Up here?
Yeah. I'm a little bit of the part of the revolution, but I'm hoping to give you a little bit of hope out there, even in what I've been doing. My name is Shawn House. I took the trek up from Hempzel Township, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and it's about hemp. And if we're serious about creating jobs, and I talked to Representative Traficant and explained what was going on, we can be doing that this year or next year, and that's growing hemp, the oldest fiber, seed, and oil crop in recorded history. So I'm going to try to show you some visual stuff and almost have communion tonight in my booth, which is back here in the corner, and I'm here for the night. So if you have any questions, feel free to test me or ask me or let me help clarify things, because I come from a background of doing it. As he said, I own Hempzel pretzels, so that's since 1998, where hemp, seed, flour, and oil combined with traditional pretzels is the Hempzel, and that's our sourdough pretzels. And we have samples back there, and horseradish, hemp, and honey mustard. And if somebody can take the flashlight, go back to the table, grab the bag of hemp seed, which is organic with sea salt, pass it around, enjoy it, so you can get an idea what the heck I'm talking about. Where to start? We're talking about the Constitution, and certainly the drafts of the Constitution were written on hemp. We've been throwing a lot of biblical stuff out there. The Gutenberg Bible was printed on hemp paper. The government in 1916, U.S. Department of Agriculture, wanted to use hemp herds for paper making. They knew the difference between hemp and, again, I'll show this later, but this is Norristown, Pennsylvania, and what I'm holding up is a bottle of a corn mixture that has cannabis indica in it. And I collect this stuff because you just can't believe everything that you read on the internet. It's good to experience it. So this is Norristown, Pennsylvania in 1900s, and cannabis indica was used as the ingredient. And I was telling you earlier about 1916, the government wanted to use hemp herds for paper making, which didn't require bleach and acid, but that goes into the whole thing of control. And politics is control, and my motto is to free the seed. You know, we don't want Monsanto to be GMOing it, to say, okay, it doesn't have any tetrahydrocannabinoid, the big boogaboo with getting high. And, we don't want to do that, because there's 700 varieties of the cannabis seed. And God made the seed for a reason. Genesis 1:29, if we like to throw quotes about every seed-bearing plant being meat to man. And we've really grown up in a complicated world. And it's real simple to get back to basics like we're doing. It's interesting, I had a meeting for our 30th high school reunion, and 4 of the 5 girls that I met with, or the people there, were out of work. You know, people who worked 23 years and they lost the Heineken account, so vice president's cut, no golden parachute, nothing to rely on it. And I've been plugging away for this for 15 to 20 years, just building relationships and trying to live a dream, and it's been real tough. A lot of the bullshit started with this word, and whenever I'm on a forum, whether it's a Daily Paul, I'm under the Lorax, but I'm always talking about the seed. Got to stop using the word marijuana, and I'll get into reasons why. But this is the fear, and this is where the confusion is. Because as I was mentioning earlier, our U.S. Department of Agriculture, this issue is solved. Cannabis indica was always referenced as medicine and shown, and that's been thousands of years of pharmacopoeia. Our own U.S. Department of Agriculture, it's the same thing. We don't have to reinvent anything. The U.S. Department of Agriculture in 1913, and I have these original pages and books, and you can see more of this at the booth tomorrow, but grew both varieties. They either referred to it as an Indian drug type of hemp or a Kentucky field hemp. And again, the answer's here. Cannabis indica is medicine. Hemp is agriculture. You're looking at the difference between horticulture, growing a seed. Just because you have some, I joke about the pot seed. Oh, am I going to get high? And just because you have a pot seed doesn't mean you get good pot. And it's really kind of silly. The seed is the energy, and the great thing about what I've been doing is the jokes about getting high and eating this stuff aren't as bad as they used to be. And one of the big reasons is Dr. Oz has been on TV talking to the mainstream. So if everybody gets rid of their TV, then we can continue to believe the marijuana stuff. So, everything is a tool. And this is kind of where I try to express, and this is just my opinion, but words are weapons, words are tools. I heard Andre Moreau talk about that in the Libertarian presidential candidate in, I don't know when it was, 80s or something like that. And you're right, we got to stop going in this marijuana circle. Yeah, for the people that are hip, that's cool, pot, weed, whatever. And we can powwow later and talk about this. But, to the government or to the legal mumbo-jumbo people out there, again, words are weapons, words are tools, and we've got to understand and identify it so we can grow hemp and cannabis in the United States as soon as possible. We should be wanting to repeal the restrictions that are prohibiting farmers from growing this, not creating more laws. My goal, company-wise, is to contract with our Pennsylvania farmers, New Jersey, national farmers, for fiber, seed, and oil. The picture I have hanging up here is a New Holland piece of equipment harvesting Canadian hemp seed. The New Holland equipment comes from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I'm near Hempfield Township. My headquarters is there, and it's a trip. People in school are like, oh, they grew hemp, or the big joke is you lived in Hempfield, you got high. It's like, grow up, But my point is, here you have New Holland equipment harvesting Canadian hemp seed that I have to turn around and package in an organic facility in York, Pennsylvania. We're creating jobs. I'm just not doing it myself. I'm trying to work within the system and as I mentioned earlier, create value, working with these bakeries. We take the hemp seed, and did anybody pick up the hemp seed and hand it out for people to try? It's gonna taste like sunflower seed. Just go up there with on my booth. It's on the table. It's a gray bag that says organic hemp seed with sea salt. It's opened. And anybody that wants to try it, just pass it around so you can understand where I'm coming from. Because as I was mentioning, Dr. Oz has been talking about this. Andrew Weil's been talking about it for years. Christina Perillo out of Philadelphia, cancer survivor, big advocate of using hemp in the diet. But it's a source of protein equal to beef, eggs, and soy. So people that are trying to get into a vegan, vegetarian lifestyle, this is another way of getting that. You're getting like 13 grams of fiber protein, digestible Edison protein equal to beef, eggs, or soy from a plant-based source. It's 3 times more vitamin E as a natural antioxidant, potassium, magnesium. The issue with erectile dysfunction, there's zinc in it. And I talk to people that breed parakeets or cockatiels, or even when they were trying to ban hemp in the 1930s, the people that were using it in bird seed said the birds won't sing. It's energy food. You don't see fat birds. So you can eat the seed and get protein, and you can get potassium, magnesium, iron, all from a plant-based source. And with the outer shell, you're also getting fiber. And it's very key in it's a big need in our diet because many of our foods are processed. And for those people that are having issues with digestion of wheat, the celiacs, the gluten folks, the hemp seed is wheat-free, dairy-free, and gluten-free. Now, I'm still using wheat in our sourdough pretzels, and we've been doing this for about 15 years, which are wheat with hemp seed, hemp flour, and hemp oil. And I've got jalapeno and garlic open. And we're doing a gluten-free soft pretzel, which is rice flour and stuff. But again, working with other bakeries. And it's just been tough because I've never been funded. This has been the typical entrepreneur that we're talking about trying to inspire, and I've just been working with this vision that it is going to happen, but it didn't happen in 2000, and it hasn't happened in a while. But I've been out here sowing the seeds, as I like to say, planting seeds of liberty, because it is freedom to choose. You eat the seed or you don't eat the seed. We're not going to force you to eat the seed, but if you're smart and you listen to Dr. Oz and these other medical doctors, they're understanding that this seed has a tremendous value. And the value is not only in the seed, but in the fiber. So, the plant itself, 8 to 18 feet tall in 90 days, and this is just a sample of the stalk. The inside of the stalk is what would be separated, and then you're getting the long fiber and the short fiber, the toe fiber. These type of fibers would have been used in the homespun. So the folks that were wearing all natural things, even our declaration, well, not our declaration, that was done with the herds, but the fiber for the flags, and I've got a hemp flag back there. Your clothing, the Dutch word for the canvas, for the sailing ships, cannabis. Right, any of the sails, and that's where the Levi jeans came through, because that was recycled material from canvases. And the same with our monetary system. Well, not our monetary system, but the use of the hemp fiber. When the ragman came around to get your rags, that was again hemp-based or flax-based, and it was converted into money, and that's how our dollar bills. Crane Company is I think they're still producing the paper in Massachusetts from. They were doing it from hemp from the beginning. This is the bark. This is the shive of the plant. And as I mentioned earlier, my company's goal is for the fiber seed and oil, but mainly the seed flour and oil, so we can put it into our kick-ass soft pretzel, which puts J&J's to shame, Auntie Anne's to shame, which is wheat with hemp seed, hemp flour, and hemp oil, and we're trying to stop using canola oil and other things. But it's going to be a baked and frozen item, and I see Giant Foods August 22nd. And what I was getting at, though, is through my journeys, let me digress. Through my journeys, I've been sowing these seeds, and it's a trip, because I'm thankful for Paul for inviting me here. I was invited last July, and I got bit by a frickin' tick and got Lyme's disease during the whole month of July, and I was just out of it. But meeting, like other speakers have said, just a few people, if this seed takes root, it's unbelievable how you can keep sowing these seeds out, and they take root. And this movement is happening, and whether it's the moon lining up with the stars or whatever, it just seems like it's going to be happening sooner or later. Especially when all the people we borrow money from as a country, all the G7, G8, G20 countries, grow hemp. The United States is the only industrialized nation that does not grow hemp. And we're in Hempfield Township. The Hamptons in New York are the Dutch word for hemp. Historically, in Lancaster County, when tobacco prices were down, they grew hemp. When hemp was down, they grew tobacco. A lot of it went to the Philadelphia rope walks, and I've got a big chunk of rope that you can see there. It's the strongest natural fiber in the world. But the bark of the plant is where some more money is, in the sense of creating jobs, because Pennsylvania is the 5th largest producer of lime in the United States. Now, Siemens Construction, which is our comparable to General Electric, GE, that's Siemens Telecommunications, Construction, is making concrete from, they're using the shive, the bark of the plant. This is the same stuff you can make paper from, the herds, in concrete. So, lime, the shive, and water, and you spray it or pour it into a steel structure or a wood structure, but it's carbon negative. It can be done right in the farmer's fields. 2.3 acres of hemp will produce enough of this shive to make a 1,000-foot square, or 1,000-foot long wall, 12 inches thick, with a R35 value, which is great. And I was explaining this to Representative Trafficant, because this is how we can create jobs. I mean, America is, we see what's going on. How can I make this better? And I'll use an example of Canada. Bless Canada. I think they're doing a good job. But we can't let the legislators, when they start going into talk about, well, yeah, we'll let hemp come in, we don't have to have it GMO'd, but minimum acres 20 acres. No, that's corporate agriculture, that's bullshit. Historically, in Kentucky, in Pennsylvania, you grow an acre of seed, or an acre of hemp just for seed. You know, it's very important to keep the germplasm, the seeds, fresh. And there's 700 cultivars of the hemp species, cannabis species. There's cannabis, sativa, indica, and rudellis. And I am not an expert. Okay, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So there's an agronomist or somebody else can tell you more about it. But hemp is 150 to 300 plants per meter. Okay, and it's one of the non-drug variety of seeds. And the rest of the world knows what seeds work best. We don't want to grow this 8 to 18 feet tall and have this combine try to harvest seed from the top. So this is a Finland seed in here, which is a lower variety. And people say, oh, that looks like good bud. There's nothing there. You know, there's no resin that's coming out. The interesting thing about tetrahydrocannabinoid, and these are stories I've heard from other folks, in Europe, I mean, it's a natural bug repellent. So in Europe, where they don't have the fences, they would grow I would call it medicinal or recreational variety of cannabis, a row of it by itself between the fields, and that would grow up taller between the corn, and then they would know the boundaries of who's harvesting what. And when they were growing medicinal cannabis, because again, people of culture, and we all come from different cultures, knew this plant. The Germans knew it as der Hanf. We're near Bethlehem, the Bethlehem hemp oil mills. There was a great book produced in the 1800s that you can look it up and check it out for yourself. But the Germans called this der Hanf, the Dutch hemp, the French Shawn. And I've been doing lots of food shows. You got to sample things because there's just such a lot to overcome with folks, because we've been in that cookie cutter mentality educational system, and for 100 years, hemp is marijuana, or you know, they haven't even mentioned, you know, about this great history, or they do it in passing. I've got to give a lot of credit to Jack Hare. He wrote the book The Emperor Wears No Clothes. He passed away a couple years ago. Because I didn't create any of this, and we get into pissing matches in the industry and stuff. It's like nobody created hemp, you know, but everybody's looking to make something better, and I know I've got my niche, and I know how to keep working it, so we're going to work it from the seed to the consumer. You know, and we do need middlemen. I mean, distribution is a big problem with what I'm doing, but we want to keep the costs down, and that's one of the big reasons that we want to grow hemp internally. So the money, as I was mentioning before, and any of your cars, any of your new cars, I drive a 92 Previa, so it may not be in there, but any of the Mercedes, any of your interior car panels are hemp and flax, or hemp and polyester injection molded. All the car panels are done that way, starting with the Germans. But who's benefiting? I mean, the farmers are. The cars are becoming more recyclable, but it's not coming from the Pennsylvania farmers. Meanwhile, we're sitting around here thinking, how are we going to create jobs? How are we going to create jobs? You know, who's going to loan us money and stuff? And we're sitting right on land, prime property, which is farming. You know, we don't have to pay farmers not to grow like they do. I mean, this is really silly. I've got a 6-year-old named Natalie. We do a nut butter. We did a baklava for a while. I was so happy to meet Paul's youngest son. I mean, that's why we're fighting, the hope for our future, and to create jobs. But going back to even the plant itself, this is a tree-free fiber board, press board, done in China with non-formaldehyde glue, tree-free board. You know, so you're talking a plant 8 to 18 feet tall in 90 days, you know, harvested, grown without pesticides and chemicals. And, you know, who's benefiting? I mean, the consumer can benefit. The hemp plant itself is like a tree. It's taking in equal parts carbon dioxide. It's taking in a massive amount of carbon dioxide and putting oxygen out there, you know, which we need. So I get pretty emotional about it. But anyways, this is the seed. I've been doing this for years. Ran into Paul at Poker Face at the Libertarian Convention. I think I was selling the Declaration of Independence printed on hemp paper back then. And I'm just happy to have met James Traficant, meet all the folks out here. It was a trip because I met this girl named Cindy recently, I believe, that came down from Connecticut. And I believe also the Lord works in mysterious ways. The Creator works in mysterious ways. And she said, she goes, "You remember me?" I said, "No, not really." I mean, because I meet a lot of people. We do the Pennsylvania Farm Show. I have 3 booths set up. We're showing car parts, big concrete, everything else. We're sampling pretzels. We're doing a soft pretzel right there. Our mustard rocks. But anyway, she goes, "We saw you 3 days before 9/11 at the Wormtown Music Festival. And a buddy and I had gotten a trailer and hooked it up to his old Ford and went up there to make some money. I don't work, I don't get paid." And it was a trip because a couple days, I mean, we're coming back from the Wormtown Music Festival. It was a bomb. There was thousands of vendors and there was nobody showing up. And it just sucked. And we were having a good, coming back early in the morning. And our trailer unhitched in the back, and I'm looking in the back, and I'm seeing all these sparks flying, and luckily the trailer chains held on there. And that son of a bitch, right before we went under the underpass, we pulled right in the middle, and trucks are going behind us. It's like 4:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning. We just want to get back to Pennsylvania. And luckily we just scooted right in there. We were able to go in underneath the underpass, get some cones, pull them out here, and we could physically lift it up, put it up there, and we made it home. And then a couple days later, this is when I worked out of Philadelphia, I was listening to Howard Stern, and they said about the planes going in. I was like crying. I was like, fuck, I just bought this business in 98 or 99. I'm in debt. We did a hemp project in 99, and it was a trip because I lost like $10,000 or $15,000. You're trying to educate about hemp and the township. And that time I didn't meet the sheriff in Lancaster County, but the township was just giving us such a hassle. It's going to be a big pot fest, blah, 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 blah. Well, luckily the township of Conestoga came forward, and these are all people in their 60s and 50s and stuff, and they understood what was going on because the Conestoga wagon's right there at their museum, and it was covered, well, it wasn't covered with hemp at that time, it was covered with cotton. And we borrowed their wagon and brought it down. I had a big tent put up, and we did a walk through with all the historical stuff so people could touch a hemp stone from Pennsylvania, which is unique to the area, and there's stories about that too. And they spoke up for us, and it worked out. It was a good event. But going back to, Cindy, I meet her, and then I met Ryan at the Bethlehem Veggie Festival a couple of years ago, him and his sister and brother, and it's so cool, and run into Paul. But the government was trying to ban hemp foods from 2000 to 2004. I bought the Hempzel pretzel business in 98 or something like that, when it was just the sourdough pretzels that was happening. No mustard, no soft pretzels, no nut butter, no jam, no baklava, none of the other stuff I'm doing now or have been doing for years. But the government, it was a trip again. Our newspapers right there, hemp foods to be banned. Does anybody remember that? Around 2000? So anyways, they were taking hemp foods off the shelf, and we couldn't get the hemp foods out there. And by 2004, Dr. Bronner Soaps, who uses a lot of hemp oil in their soaps and lotions, and I think Nature's Path, that does a Nature's Path Hemp Plus Granola, funded the effort, and the Hemp Industries Association, which I was a former board member of, took the DEA to court because, there's two things. Do we have time? Are we good time-wise? Is this boring?
No.
Okay. Because I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but...
Exactly, brother.
Yeah.
We have cops coming if we continue on, so I just want to,
Yeah, we'll wrap it up later. That's enough. You heard enough from me, so... I'll tell you more tomorrow.
Not enough.
Yeah, brother. Continue to send.
There is hope. That's what I want to leave with you tonight. There is hope.
That's right. We all need an education.
I'm crashed here, dude. I'm not going anywhere else. So.
Yeah, you had the most interesting story of the night.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're not busting me.
Well, no. Push it half
Day 2's in the bag. Shawn House. Thanks, Shawn. Thanks a lot, man. He'll be back tomorrow night. Educate us on hemp. Very, very informational, man. All right, I want to thank everybody who was here today. Let me get out my list, and I can thank everybody properly. Yeah. All right, we had a lot of great speakers. Merlin Miller, Gigi Bowman, Brian Seaman, great guy. Larry Sinclair, he left, another great guy. Pretty funny things that you might want to hear. Let's see, Mike Williams, Oath Keepers, great speaker. Sheriff Jeff Christopher laid down some things that you really need to understand about the sheriff, about due process. Jim Traficant, James Traficant, goes without saying. He, like Paul said, is the real deal. He's a man's man. Jim Conner Jr. also. I want everybody to check out Cindy Steele's website. What is it? It's freeedgarsteele.com. freeedgarsteele.com. All right, the bands. Billy Patrick, you were rocked it, dude. You were awesome. Leech Boy. Who else did we have? Scott Marshall in his Hillbilly, oh man, what was it? Hillbilly Soul. Scott Marshall and the award-winning Hillbilly Soul. 18th Hour, you guys were awesome. Secret System, another great band. Poker Face, Wandering Root. We had a great day. Day 2's in the bag. Freedom Palooza 2. Tomorrow will be the last day. I want to thank everybody who was out here. We got a bonfire. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Thank you.
Anybody down there at the board can mute this. Mute.